this is a foible, and I'm gonna go ahead and be 100% honest with y'all. I don't agree with the VTuber that we're gonna be talking about today, but in this specific thing, I think that it might have actually been the model artist that made a bit of a mess up. So, real quick, let me go ahead and explain to all of you how picking up a VTuber model works. Usually, you have a licensing agreement with a person who creates your art, and that licensing agreement can include things like will not allow you to say things they politically disagree with. Like, that's, you can write anything you want into TOS. So, for instance, this VTuber model right here has two main things. I cannot use it for anything AI generated, which, I mean, fair. And also, if at any point Suzu Sawara decides that I have crossed some line with the model and she does not want me to have access to the model anymore, they do have the ability to revoke the model. That is a thing in the TOS that I agreed to. It's not necessarily in every TOS for every model that I have access to. I don't have a specific TOS for Pernia's model, nor do I have a specific one for Remixen's model that have the same stipulations. Thing is, I'm okay with that because I wanted the style and quality that came from Suzu's art, so I specifically paid for that. Now, that said, let's go ahead and get into this video about whether Powdur lost her model. Now, again, before we get into that, I need to give another bit of a precursor. For instance, if you don't know what happened, Powdur did a stream where she was using the Amelia model. Now, I've already done a video talking about how I think that's fucking cringe and stupid, and it's celebrating cruelty for no reason whatsoever. I disagree a fuck ton with Powdur's political views because she seems to be riding the wave of people having opinions about ICE on the side of the people who are responsible for killing not only American citizens, but a bunch of other fucking people. I don't see why you would do that. So what I want to do is I want to be on the side of the artist revoking privileges to a customizable model. But we have two problems here. One, well, you'll see. But the second issue is that it was a customizable model. That is a smorgasbord of problems in a handbag. Let's see what's going on here. Okay, so I should also point out that Powdur right now seems to be getting a lot of her views by being a shitbag. Now, I'm not saying that as a way to be insulting. Sorry, let me go ahead and play the video.
Hey guys. Oh, one sec. Hey guys, I got this new model. Do you like it?
So the reason that she is doing that, the reason that she's doing that little smile, nod to the camera, is that the model she's using is the model that the artist who made the model has been requesting her not to use. Okay? Okay. So we're on the same page now. She is doing it because it stirs the pot. Because stirring the pot is making her money. Also, her older model looked better.
This is the Liz Meta customizable model. I originally got it to cosplay Amelia, but I can only channel my inner Brit for so long. So through the power of fusion...
So the cosplaying Amelia thing was what got her in hot water here in the first place, because when she was using that model, she was saying, again, a bunch of stuff that was very, very pro-ICE, saying things like, the problem with ICE is they aren't going far enough. And I think it's a really dumb position to say shit like that. I recognize that it's the kind of stuff that if you were in a group with your private friends, you could say edgy shit like that and get away with it. Wouldn't be too much of an issue, depending on your friend group. But, like, if you're saying it out on a stream, that's not your private friend group. That's just a bunch of people who are going to take that as a lightning rod, that it's okay to have shitty opinions like that. Like, when you and your friends get together and one of them says, hey, do you want to hear a racist joke? If I'm in mixed company with people that I do not trust explicitly to understand that no, none of us actually believe whatever the fuck the joke is going to be, then I probably don't want to hear that. And that's kind of how I feel when it comes to streaming. Those things that are okay in a group of private friends because you all know that none of you believe the thing you're saying is one thing. And then when you're on a stream, there is no filter for that. It just creates a room where shitbags can ferment.
My new self was born, and you all really liked it. Let's get something out of the way first. There's this weird rumor going around that I can't use my old Powdur model, but they're just wrong. I have the files, I have the rights, I paid for it, it's mine. I've been posting on Twitter as my new self quite a bit, and one post in particular took off. Oh no, you're a racist. And? Question mark? If that's their way of attacking someone for standing up for their country and their people, then so be it. That doesn't offend me at all. It's
okay. So again, I got a lot of views for saying a thing. Cool. I how many views you get for something you say is not a metric for how good it is in any way, shape, or form. But again, she is running on a platform of engagement, and it's and pot stirring. That is what she is trying to do. Specifically, it makes sense. This is, after all, a platform where the more engagement you get, the further your opinions will spread. Period.
Seems I've caused some controversy. Enough to catch the eyes of the model artist. They commented saying, "Hello, we request that you no longer use this model to make extreme remarks. This is a customized..."
Also, by the way, this is one of the reasons why I think content that just says that somebody is racist or says that somebody is bad is not super useful content in and of itself. Like, yeah, you can say something's bad. If the person's willing to own that, you've done nothing. Like, the only time that calling somebody a name does anything is in scenario A, you're in a group with your friends and it gives you power in that group of friends against that person, or B, that person can feel shame about that thing. If they cannot feel shame about that thing, whatever name you want to call them is not a weapon that's going to work against them. It doesn't do anything to them.
VTuber model, and your controversial statements may make other Liz Meta users feel uncomfortable and offended. We do not insist that you delete your previous videos. It would be greatly appreciated if you choose to do so, but we ask that you refrain from making extreme videos using our model going forward. Otherwise, we will revoke your model usage rights. What? I'm not going to stop saying things like this because someone else thinks it's extreme. Where did you even get the idea that it was extreme? My take...
Where did you get the idea that being pro-ICE was extreme? I don't know. Probably the modern day, where that's the general takeaway where ICE is concerned. The fact that there are MAGA people who are actually deciding that the Republican Party is no longer for them solely because they are seeing the shit ICE is doing, like what they did to Alex Preddy, that's where that's coming from.
Was very sensible. Also, revoke my model usage rights. Can they do that? When I was looking for a model to create Amelia, I very specifically read the TOS before purchasing. Kokoda specifically states, "We merely provide the model and are not responsible for the statements made by any individual users."
So that's a standard thing that anybody would put in a TOS to cover their own ass.
So why are they trying to police the words I say? And what grounds do they have to revoke my model usage rights? Maybe I missed something. Let's take a look at this TOS again. Wait a second. Well, that seems oddly specific.
The use of this model to generate unfriendly or hate speech or hateful speech is strictly prohibited. I don't see a problem with that either. Like, you don't want to be responsible for it, so you put something in the TOS to say you're not responsible for it, but you also specifically point out that you do not want to be, you know, the guy who opens the door for it. Like, out of curiosity, which would you rather be? Would you rather be the person who hurts somebody else or the person who opens the door for them and enables them to do so? Usually, most sane people would say they don't want to be either of those people, actually, like, at all. But there's a problem. Kazumi says, if she read the TOS, how did she not know about this? So you're gonna find out something by watching this video. You're gonna find something by watching this video, and here's where I think the artist made the foible. I am actually on Powder's side in the sense that she does not have an obligation to the artist here, not a legal one.
That wasn't there before. I bought this model on January 17th and debuted as Amelia on the 19th. On the 20th, a Twitter user by the name of Reese Sekuru suggested the model artist update their TOS. I've seen several pre-made models, including a politics ban/harmful content ban in their TOS. You may want to add it moving forward so you don't have people smearing your reputation and making the model look bad. Sucks that it happened. It's not surprising who did it though. And I just have no idea who they could be referencing in this tweet. But anyway, their TOS did get updated. I don't even know how you'd enforce rules like that. And now the artist is trying to retroactively apply that.
You don't know how you would enforce rules like that? Well, so the first thing is, if the artist specifically says, like, hey, we'd rather you not do this, here's what I would think needs to happen. Honestly, if the artist says that, they could say, hey, we are refunding your purchase. We are refunding it to you because we do not feel like you are a responsible user of our thing. That's the right thing to do. That solves the problem right there. You have not lost any money at that point, you don't have to delete your videos, and you already had another model available to you to use, so you're not really out. Like, again, if I were to do something that offended Suzu to the point where she decided that I did not need to use my model anymore, then at that point, I still have access to the model that Remixon made for me, I still have access to the models Pernia has made for me, and if for some reason I did things to offend either of them, I can just go back to using my face or using a PNG, which I also still have. Like, there are options still for continuing to stream, but there is also the want to be a content creator who is saying things in such a way that seems like you're coming from a position of strength. So, if you are Powder, and you are... Not the face, don't do it, Kaz? So if you are Powder, and if you are courting an audience of people by stirring the pot, that is usually an audience of confrontational people. So when you're courting that audience, the last thing you want to do is act as if that confrontational aspect for yourself need not apply. You don't want to say that you did something wrong, because no longer using the model would seem like an admission of guilt or shame. And if you're courting an audience, well, that's not what you want to do if that audience would not operate very well to that. Like, if you had a very liberal audience that felt like the shame thing was good, then sure, maybe grabbing your ukulele and doing your apology video would work. But taking the more Machiavellian approach, where you go, no, I'm not going to apologize for the thing I did. And by the way, the thing I did was based. That's how you court that audience. That's how you operate with that audience. Whether or not that's how she operates in her heart of hearts, I don't know. But that is how you court that audience. That's what you do. Imagine Nick Fuentes apologizing for being offensive. 30% of his audience goes out the door right now.
I don't even know how you'd enforce rules like that. And now the artist is trying to retroact.
Also, you would enforce those rules by using legal means. If you have a TOS that you don't feel like you can enforce, then you take it to law enforcement. Like, that's how you would do that. We do this shit in copyright battles all the fucking time.
Actively apply that TOS to me. But I already bought the model. This isn't my first time dealing with Twitter controversy, so after the artist publicly threatened me, I decided to stay quiet and see how it played out. I was prepared for escalation if they went that route, because I will not bend to social pressure.
Again, this is what you do. This is how you court that audience. You operate from a position of strength. I am not on Powder's side in that I agree with her political opinions. I don't. I think her pro-ICE opinions are racist and are bad. But the fact that I believe that doesn't mean anything, because she's going to say those things irrespective of that. She thinks being racist is base. So that's not really a good line of attack. It's not going to do anything to change anything. So, that said, let's continue. Stop says TOS updates are normal on every other thing, and you can't get that model gets TOS updates. Right. The problem is when you have bought something, getting a TOS update, whether or not it can legally retroactively apply is a bit iffy. This is something where they'd have to go and do a legal battle to see. The problem is you would have to have a clause in the TOS that says we are allowed to modify or change this TOS at any point. And if that doesn't exist in the TOS at the time that she bought the model, then no, they can't retroactively do that. But when I say that I don't agree with Powdur's positions, what I am saying is if you are a VTuber or you are a streamer and you are courting an audience that wants to see strength, this is how you do strength. It's disgusting, and it's stupid, and it's childish, but it is how you do it.
My patience paid off. Since I chose not to respond or mention anything about the TOS change, I watched as a group of super sleuthers found it on their own and started spreading the word. I really appreciate that, thank you. The model was only ever a placeholder until I got my 3.0, but until then, I will keep using it. My community loves it, and I love it too. I want to thank those of you for having my back. Thank you for defending me. I'm a hardened veteran at this point when it comes to controversy, but that doesn't mean I can always fight alone. So in summary, I paid for the model, it's mine.
Okay. So, retroactively changing the TOS, in most cases, is not going to do anything there. And there have been a lot of people talking about this shit. I have not seen either of these videos. I do kind of want to see this one.
A genre that has blown up in recent years. Most of us are pretty familiar with the topic or have at least heard of it by now. For those unaware, following decided to give her take on ICE, a federal agency responsible for illegal immigration and deportation. Let's see what she had to say. Hello guys, it's me.
Okay,
3, 2...
Okay.
Is because they're not doing enough. They need to deport more people. They would have to deport like thousands of people every week in order to make a dent in the issues that we have right now. But that's not gonna happen, so.
Alright, before I address what she just said and explain to you guys why it's so stupid, you're probably wondering why her hair is...
Twilight Grim, can we please stop the Freerend is racist shit? The Freerend is racist conversation is the most dumb conversation in modern anime today. She's not racist because the actual demons in Freerend are not people. They are skinwalkers. They have a human shape. That is what makes them what they are. Twilight says, never seen the show. My fucking God. Okay. Nope. Stop having an opinion about things you haven't watched.
Purple, and she has a different avatar. Alright, this avatar has some lore I'm gonna explain to you guys. It sounds silly. I mean, these are the windows from the clip I just showed you, so you can kind of see where this is going. So her avatar is based off of a character called Amelia. So the UK made an educational game called Pathways, Navigating the Internet and Extremism, and Amelia is found inside this game. Pause, watch the shot. Holy fuck, I'm the GOAT. Anyways, she has purple hair, kinda has like an e-girl look, she wears a choker, and apparently she has a pink outfit sometimes, haven't seen that. But the whole point of her character is to come off as a far-right, anti-immigration viewed person, right? And the game actually sets her up in a way where you'd want to reject her views, right? But people saw her and were like, wait, based? And Powdur was one of those people. To put it simply, she just wants to be the American version of Amelia. That's why she's saying the crazy shit she's saying. So she said the only reason we should be mad at ICE is because they're not doing enough? I mean, what about all the innocent people getting killed? Should we not be upset about that? The people that have...
Thank you. Fucking thank you. Fucking thank you. But yeah, no, the Amelia thing definitely backfired because there was no... So, when you make a political game, and in that political game, you make a political character with views that are considered bad, everybody's going to see them as the anti-establishment character. And when they see them as the anti-establishment character, they're going to try to pretend that she's punk or some shit, because punk being anti-establishment is a pretty standard idea across a lot of fucking media. Okay. So he's basically getting into the same shit that I did when I covered the Amelia video a little while ago. So what's the takeaway here? Well, first takeaway is having a fully customizable model that can be bought by anybody without actually vetting anybody in the process of making that model is a wild idea. Like, imagine if you were an extreme right-winger and then I bought that model and started saying fun stuff about socialism and, you know, the fact that we should see if ice skulls look a little bit like Cave Story after we've seen what Pokemon weaknesses they have access to, like Steel. Like, yeah, if I started saying shit like that, you might, maybe, possibly have some words to say about that. But if you made the mistake in the TOS of not saying, hey, by the way, if you say hateful shit, we're going to revoke the model, that can be a problem. And, again, even if you put that in, it is a little hard to enforce it. It is very hard to enforce that. There are ways to do it. You would have to go through the same avenues as any copyright law would go through. But especially when we start talking about stuff that is between countries, that just gets very, very difficult. I think it would be better. I recognize the idea of having the fully customizable model. It makes sense to try to do that. Chilled Bay says, yeah, that sounded hateful. Exactly. That's the point. The point is, if I start saying shit like that, and somebody who has a completely opposite political opinion of me, or than me, hears that, that is exactly how they're going to take it. Period. 110%. Just like I take it very, very badly when somebody is praising ICE after all of the people they fucking killed. I find that to be kind of a problem. Suris, you said Jason Todd is bad even though I've never had a TOS ever. You can't use the playmat I drew for you? Okay. Well, that sucks. I'm sad now. But no, when you don't vet the people who you are making artwork for, invariably you're going to stumble into this issue. And that's kind of what's happened here. I don't want to be on Powdur's side. I want them to be inconvenienced for having opinions that are incredibly caustic. Because I think that's one of the ways that we stop those caustic opinions from being prevalent in society, by making it inconvenient to have those caustic opinions. But if you didn't set it in the TOS, there really isn't much that can be done. It's not that great. And I want to be on the side of the artist. I do. This is just one of those situations where they can be morally correct. They can be morally correct and legally not have any bearing. And that's kind of where we're at right now, where that's concerned. Hey, you made it to the end. I want to give an extra thanks to the patrons who allow me to do this full time. I want to thank Aaron Rail, Astral, Britzkrieg, Jemshin, Poundini, Red Joker, Victoria, Jonas, Craig, Tarika, Fireshard, Smiling GM, John, Dren Hadamada, Creeper, Sagitta, you know I'm not saying that last part, Valis of Seraph, Ottoman Angel, Rooster Rachel, and Fire Panda, who are all my $20 and up patrons.